Stepping off the plane, excitement bubbled from meeting my husband in his hometown. Imagine my surprise when his ex, not him, greeted me at baggage claim. Then, the cherry on top, a locked car and a husband nowhere to be seen. Finally, a smug grin appeared from the driver's seat. My husband. His words dripped with disdain. Honestly, all you ever do is complain. This whole trip, big mistake. Fast forward a week, my soon-to-be ex-husband was about to get a reality check. Buckle up, because this is where Megan Morris, the unsuspecting 28-year-old part-time housewife, takes charge. My dating life was a wasteland for years until a clumsy encounter at a local cafe changed everything. That's where Sebastian, freelancing designer extraordinaire and future fi and kick turned foe, swooped in to pick up my dropped purse. Talk about meet cutes. Sebastian's smile was as disarming as his occasional Springfield drawl, which added a surprising charm. We hit it off, swapping numbers and eventually, meals. He was a smooth talker, always ready with a witty remark, and that accent swoon. Dates revolved around his hometown. Apparently his dad, who ran a towing service, embodied the classic grumpy old man stereotype. Sebastian painted himself as the escapee, seeking a happy life in the city with yours truly. Who could resist that? One anniversary dinner and a dazzling ring later, I was officially engaged. My parents were on board, and the next step, a trip to meet Sebastian's delightful family. The 2-hour car ride to Sebastian's family home was surprisingly pleasant. His mom, a woman with the easy confidence of a country matriarch, laughed heartily at my nervous greetings. "Don't sweat it, honey," she boomed. "He," pointing to Sebastian, "may look like a grizzly bear, but he's a teddy bear underneath. Just relax." The house itself was grander than I expected. As we entered, Sebastian's dad, a mountain of a man with a perpetually furrowed brow, stood in the living room. The resemblance to a quiver-wielding warrior was uncanny. Introduction time. A slow, deliberate nod was all I got from Dad before Sebastian blurted, "This is Megan, Dad, the one I'm marrying." Dad's response was unexpected. "You expect her to protect you after ditching your responsibilities?" He boomed, eyes fixed on Sebastian. Sebastian stammered about city life and happiness, but the tension was thick. Dad then turned to me, his gaze surprisingly gentle. "Megan," he said, "he's not exactly father of the year, but please keep him in line." "Of course," I replied, forcing a smile. Mom intervened with a hearty, "All right, introductions over." Dinner time. The rest of the visit was a whirlwind. Sebastian's family, despite Dad's initial gruffness, were genuinely kind. Leaving, Sebastian sighed. That was close. I thought they'd try and drag me back to the towing business. A shiver ran down my spine at his words, but I brushed it off. "Your dad seemed okay with you," I reassured him. "Yeah, thanks to you, honey. This city life is looking better by the minute." The wedding was small and sweet, but a disagreement arose about our living situation. I lived in a spacious apartment, while Sebastian was in a shoebox of a room. Naturally, he'd move in with me, right? Wrong. Enter the dream apartment, a gorgeous newly built place with a rent that made my wallet wince. Sebastian, ever the charmer, promised to cover the extra cost. "A clean, inspiring space boosts my creativity," he'd argued. "Trust me." Against my better judgment, I agreed. New apartment, here we come. Sebastian, ever the helpful husband, was a dream come true, until it wasn't. 3 months into marriage bliss, a casual announcement sent a shiver down my spine. "Friends from my hometown are visiting," Sebastian chirped. "Mind if we host them?" Eager to please, I whipped up a special meal, anticipation bubbling in the air. The doorbell chimed, and Sebastian ushered in a guest. I braced myself for a handshake, picturing a burly childhood buddy. Instead, a woman with a dazzling smile stood before me. "Hi, I'm Madison," she chirped, extending a hand. Sebastian's wife. I managed a smile plastered on my face despite the sudden pit in my stomach. Sebastian's nonchalant wife only amplified my unease. Was this a joke? Were they playing some elaborate prank? Madison seemed unfazed. Married, Well, she drawled, a glint in her eyes. Sebastian ushered her in, the familiarity in their interaction like a punch to the gut. Choking down the questions swirling in my mind, I retreated to the kitchen. The sounds of their laughter cut through the air, laced with inside jokes and a local dialect that flew over my head. A growing sense of isolation gnawed at me. Finally, I built up the courage to ask, "How do you know each other?" Sebastian's answer was a casual, "Oh, classmates from way back." But Madison's playful swat at his arm and teasing retort, "Troublemaker, am I?" painted a different picture. The evening wore on, fueled by laughter and drinks. As inebriation set in, their conversation became a tangled web of shared history, leaving me on the outside looking in. When Madison mentioned heading back to a hotel, Sebastian's suggestion of her staying over hung heavy in the air. My polite smile faltered for the first time. Bidding Madison farewell outside the apartment, I felt a desperate need for answers. "Thanks for being such a good friend, Madison," I offered, the words hollow on my tongue. Her reply was a throaty laugh. "Playing the dutiful wife, are we? Let me tell you a little secret, Megan. Sebastian and I go way back. High school sweethearts, actually." My heart hammered in my chest as the weight of her words sunk in. Just as I reeled from the revelation, a taxi pulled up, whisking Madison away. The echo of her laughter hung in the air, a chilling reminder of the truth I'd just been forced to confront. "So, Madison's your ex, I demanded, my voice tight with anger. "What were you thinking, bringing her here?" Sebastian's nonchalant shrug did little to ease the churning in my stomach. "Relax, it was just a short fling. We're friends now, friends." The way they interacted screamed otherwise. Days turned into weeks, and a new worry surfaced. "Honey," Sebastian mumbled sheepishly, "work's been slow. Any chance you could cover the rent this month?" Freelancers had variable incomes. I knew that, but this felt different. Still, I agreed, a nagging feeling settling in my gut. The following month, the rent remained unpaid. Not only that, Sebastian barely chipped in for groceries. Enough was enough. "Can I see your tax returns, Sebastian?" My voice was firm, leaving no room for argument. He grumbled, but eventually produced the documents. The numbers on the page were a slap in the face. $10,000. That was his entire income from last year. What's going on here? My question hung heavy in the air. Sebastian shrugged, offering a flimsy excuse about the freelancer life. But what about the money he had before? Savings from odd jobs and childhood allowances, he mumbled. Gone. Panic started to gnaw at me. "So, what's the plan?" I pressed. "Plan?" Sebastian's response dripped with entitlement. "Honey, you have that fancy corporate job, right? You can handle things for a while. Besides, I'll find work, I promise." Empty promises. He stopped contributing entirely, leaving me to shoulder the entire financial burden. My pleas for him to find a real job fell on deaf ears. He'd either evade the topic or lash out in frustration. Housework became my sole responsibility, adding to the weight on my shoulders. As the first anniversary loomed, Sebastian sprung a new request. "Let's go back to my hometown for New Year's. It's your duty as my wife, right?" Duty? A bitter laugh caught in my throat. We barely spoke anymore, thanks to our constant fights about his lack of contribution. But a sliver of hope remained. Maybe a visit to his family would be a turning point. Airport arrival. I braced myself for the familiar sight of my mother-in-law's car. Instead, a sleek vehicle pulled up, driven by none other than Sebastian's ex, Madison. "What's going on?" My voice barely escaped my lips. Sebastian slid into the passenger seat without a word. Before I could react, the doors locked. Panic clawed at my throat. "Hey, why can't I get in?" My question hung unanswered. Then the verbal assault began. Sebastian's voice dripped with disdain. "I never planned to pick you up. Your constant nagging about work drove me crazy." Madison chimed in, her voice laced with fake sympathy. Honestly, such a whiner. A woman should support her man, right? It's only natural for him to seek affection elsewhere. The absurdity of it all fueled a white-hot rage within me. I yanked at the door, but it wouldn't budge. Learn from this, Megan, Sebastian sneered. Go home, or walk. His smug grin and Madison's giggles were the final straw. This is unbelievable, I muttered, my voice surprisingly calm despite the storm within. I'm done. With a steely glint in my eyes, I declared, fine, I understand. The car sped off, leaving me stranded. As the dust settled, a strange sense of clarity washed over me. I wouldn't let them break me. Marching back to the airport felt cathartic. A quick call to my mother-in-law explained the situation, her surprise evident even over the phone. My gruff father-in-law offered to pick me up. Back in the city, a new plan took shape. Within hours, I secured a temporary apartment and a same-day moving service. The new year would bring a new beginning, and this time, it would be on my terms. *** moving day arrived. My belongings were whisked away to a storage unit, a temporary haven until my real life began. The empty apartment echoed with the finality of my decision. A week after being abandoned at the airport, I was leaving the past behind. Back in my temporary haven, the phone rang. Sebastian's name flashed on the screen. Ignoring the call initially, I was bombarded with a relentless series of rings. Annoyance bubbled over. Finally, I answered. Megan, where are you? The house is empty. You even left divorce papers. What's going on? His voice boomed through the receiver. We'll talk, I said coolly, arranging a meeting at a nearby cafe. Sebastian was already fuming when I arrived. There you are. Why is Dad? His sentence trailed off as he spotted the man sitting beside me, my stoic father-in-law. I filled him in on everything, I explained, taking a seat with a newfound confidence. He came to see you off, permanently. Sebastian seemed to deflate. He attempted a bravado, mumbling, I left of my own accord. Let's get a divorce then. Equals no divorce. I raised an eyebrow. You left me stranded with your ex, then have the nerve to play the victim. Just as Sebastian stammered a weak defense about Madison being just a friend, my father-in-law slammed a stack of photos on the table. The world seemed to hold its breath. Explain these, son, he growled, each word laced with disappointment. The photos depicted Sebastian entering a local hotel with Madison. What's the meaning of this? Sebastian sputtered, his facade crumbling. Megan requested this investigation, my father-in-law explained. She asked me to appear normal during your visit while my sister discreetly followed you. Consider these your parting gifts. Sebastian's face drained of color. Excuses died on his lips. My father-in-law's voice boomed. Enough. You not only abandoned your wife, but you dishonored our family. You are a disgrace. A flicker of remorse flickered in Sebastian's eyes. I'm sorry, Dad, he mumbled. Wrong apology, my father-in-law thundered. Sebastian then swiveled towards me, a desperate plea in his voice. Megan, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. I love you, you're the only one. The words rang hollow in the face of his actions. This was the new Megan, and empty apologies wouldn't win her back. My father-in-law's fury reached a new level. Are you deaf, boy? He roared. Look what you've done to her. You're a disgrace, not a son. The only decent thing you can do is apologize and agree to the divorce. Sebastian stammered a weak defense, but my voice cut through him like ice. You offered nothing but financial strain, a public humiliation, and a betrayal. There's no room for someone like you in my life. The divorce is happening. Sign the papers. Defeated, Sebastian complied, his signature witnessed by his scowling father-in-law, who then unceremoniously whisked him away. The divorce was finalized with no division of assets. A flicker of remorse flickered in Sebastian's eyes. I'm sorry, Dad, he mumbled. Wrong apology, my father-in-law thundered. Sebastian then swiveled towards me, a desperate plea in his voice. "Megan, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. I love you, you're the only one." The words rang hollow in the face of his actions. This was the new Megan, and empty apologies wouldn't win her back. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. My father-in-law's fury reached a new level. "Are you deaf, boy?" he roared. "Look what you've done to her. You're a disgrace, not a son. The only decent thing you can do is apologize and agree to the divorce." Sebastian stammered a weak defense, but my voice cut through him like ice. "You offered nothing but financial strain, a public humiliation, and a betrayal. There's no room for someone like you in my life. The divorce is happening. Sign the papers." Defeated, Sebastian complied, his signature witnessed by a scowling father-in-law, who then unceremoniously whisked him away. The divorce was finalized with no division of assets. However, I demanded compensation for his infidelity. Sebastian's meager resources wouldn't cover it, so his father, fuming, stepped in, offering a substantial sum to settle the debt and compensate for the inconvenience I'd endured. The price of his betrayal was steep. Sebastian could no longer afford city life. His father dragged him back to their hometown, forcing him into a construction job, a far cry from his imagined city lifestyle. The alimony payments served as a constant reminder of his mistake, silently deducted from his meager paycheck. My former father-in-law, disgusted by Sebastian's actions, vowed to keep him on a tight leash, forever banished from the city. As for Sebastian's cries on the way to work, they fell on deaf ears. He'd made his choices, and it was time to face the consequences. There would be no sympathy from me. My life, on the other hand, had taken a turn for the better. The compensation allowed me to move to a new place, a fresh start free from the stress of that sham of a marriage. Work was fulfilling, and a newfound sense of purpose fueled my days. The future stretched before me, an open road promising happiness on my own terms. Thanks for watching and being part of this storytelling adventure. Click the subscribe button to support our storytelling channel